firstly, a very simple requirement. Well, we'll call it simple now because it's done. But what we had was a CISPRO customer that has a very different way of handling what is forecasting in their environment. And when you look at the flow of actions here, you'll see that what they have is an expected buying pattern or expected sale pattern based on percentages of a total sale value that a customer commits to. And what we needed a way to take that information into a front-end application that would then run the logic of transforming all of that information into an actual value-based or quantity-based pattern, and take into consideration all the unit of measure or pallet or case logic, etc., as well as some of the replenishment logic that they have in terms of doctor stock days, etc., and sort of build out that pattern over what is a forecast horizon effectively. By using Flowgear, what we're able to do is give the customer, well, as much as Daniel said this, Flowgear doesn't have front ends, we've managed to build out, which is a fairly simple front end, which would have taken any average developer probably a week to build, but in the space of a day or two, we were able to put together a very simple front end showing the actual percentage-based pattern, how we translate that information into a quantity-based pattern, and then take that information and upload it into the data points it requires from there that allows the solution to then take that information and then churn it through into CISPRO. And then CISPRO, obviously, taking that information, making the logical sense of that information through its configurations, and allowing us to then populate things like the inventory forecasts, things like MRP forecast, and that's allowing us to then directly influence demand and directly influence how we consume. So by doing a further step with Flowgear in terms of this customer making use of things like EDI, WooCommerce orders, we're able to pick up a simple file, do the quick map, drop it off into CISPRO as a sort toy import or sales order import. We're able to also hit WooCommerce, pull down orders, and drop those into CISPRO. And the consequence of that is that this customer wants to see their forecast consumed at an order level, because that's a confirmation of the commitment from their customers. And then the confirmation of that commitment going out the door would be the invoicing or the dispatch and then invoice phases of that. What we're able to do is then snapshot those activities and then see every time a change comes into the top end of the solution, every time there's a consumption to the bottom end of the solution, we're able to completely understand commitment, consumption, and what is left in the environment. And what you'll be able to see then as an output of that will be what is our analytics. So very, very quickly, we're going to just give you a little run through. So Daniel, you can pull up what is the actual front end piece of this. So we have, and where we started with the solution was, hey, I've got a spreadsheet. I've got all the logic written in the spreadsheet. So I could pick up a file if I wanted to, which is predetermined by this, and it would populate everything, or I can go and look at the actual tables that exist at the moment. So if I want to change what is the current forecast in this environment, all I do is I pick up the information. The top half of the screen talks about what is that actual percentage pattern split or that sales split. And the bottom half is the eventual quantity version. Now you'll see the very last line there is a difference. And that difference is telling me that as much as I've got an annual demand and I've got a split over that, what I'm trying to get to is understanding what's the best way to supply what is the demand expectation at the top end. So what we do is we don't allow any change on the quantity side, but we definitely can interfere with the actual percentage ratio splits on the top. And that allows us to say, we need that difference to come down as close to zero as possible. So what Daniel's looking at there is there's a 10% of that in period 8. So Daniel, if you could take that down to, let's say, 5%, and you'll see that starts to come down even further now. And if, as you start to interfere with those numbers on the top and play around with this, you'll notice that you can get as close to zero as possible on your differences. And this is the work that obviously users need to do in conjunction with the customers, understanding what is their requirement and how best we can supply that requirement to them. And once all of that is done, we save those changes. Once we save those changes, it then, so Daniel, you could save those changes. But what we'll be able to do now is we go back into Power BI, where we extract all that information for the customer. And what we did end up seeing is a very simple view. So I can see my forecast over the entire horizon, which is that 12-month horizon for them. We can see where we have order expectations over each of those financial periods. We can see in that current period, we've got stuff that's been dispatched but not invoiced. And we also can see what's been invoiced for that current period. We can understand the percentage taken and what is the remaining forecast. In a period above, have had a bumper period, they've sold more than they expected to sell in that period. Period before that, they didn't quite hit budget. So the drive and the push at the moment is, we've got a large outstanding or remaining forecast for you. We need to make sure we get on. And that is a call to action for the salespeople to get out to the customers and say, hey guys, what's happening? And obviously you've got some nice coaching on the side that sort of enables them to drill down into the actual problem. We can split that out and show you exactly which customers or stock codes or the combination of both is there. And then there's further analytical value to this. But the output of what the customer needs to understand is, what is their current position? Where do they sit within their commitment to that the customers have made to them, and their ability to deliver on that commitment. So that is the extent of that solution from that customer. And of course, we facilitated that with the use of Flowgear to make it nice and easy, nice and simple, and effective as well for the customer. So at the moment, the key things for us is we're a certified Flowgear partner, where we're allowed to sort of implement, design, and sell Flowgear if need be. And with the assistance of Flowgear, who's always available and willing to help us through the processes and through whether it's demos, whether it's proof of values. Flowgear is always available, whether it's Jacques or Daniel. The guys are always available, willing to help, willing to listen, and really patient about making sure they get to the actual solutions. So the call to action for us is, we need to understand if guys are interested in talking about a complementary proof of concept or proof of value, if you'd like to call it that. We've got some customers that you can see in the bottom that we've done stuff with, and some of the partners that I listed there as well. So if you're interested, there's our contact information. We're more than happy to have conversations with the guys before just jumping into proof of concepts as well. And of course, we'll be putting this out on LinkedIn and all of our other social platforms for guys that haven't been able to attend and listen today. But yeah, thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Daniel. I'm not sure, Daniel, if you want to add anything further to this.
Yeah, just to underscore that we, in conjunction with Enterprise Works, would be very happy to give you a POC. That would entail from our part getting integrations knocked out kind of to the level that I've presented to you today, and ideally connecting into your own staging or test data sources. So we can connect into your test ERP instance and actually show you your data coming back and pull that all the way through to, for example, Power BI. So yeah, feel free to avail yourself of that.